Hi there! If you've been watching my channel, you know I love the food on wheels business. I've done street vending, I've run a snack bar, and I've catered. I've even owned a restaurant. But I always come back to my first love, the carnival concession business. In this video, I'm going to talk about buying a new concession trailer. It's on my mind right now because I'm in the process of doing that very thing. I'm being extremely choosy this time for a very important reason. Although I've had 6 trailers along with 3 tent operations and 2 buildings on fairgrounds, this will be only the second time that I bought a brand new trailer. Honestly, if it were up to me, I'd probably hunt around until I found something used. The trouble is, my husband wants new. He doesn't want someone else's old junk. And he's probably right. Used trailers these days are nearly as expensive as new ones. They really hold their value. When you buy used, you're buying someone else's vision and their setup. Unless you're going to sell the exact same thing, and you better be sure you can get it booked, you'll have to tear it apart and retrofit it for your menu. Now, if you can get a great deal on both the trailer and the route, that's different. Just be sure the route is worth the investment. What are they selling? What events or fairs are they playing? How long have they been there? What's the attendance? What's their location at each fairgrounds? You'll pay more for a trailer with a route. If the route is so good, then why are they selling? So make sure you complete your due diligence before making that big investment. I have friends actually, husband and wife, in the business. They're selling a highly profitable bakery trailer. They've had it going for 30 years. Why are they selling? Because they're older, their kids don't want it, and they're downsizing. They're both from carnival backgrounds. Her father owned a show, and his parents owned 4 trailers: dough, pizza, fries, and floss. Now he has those 4 trailers plus 2 more. No wonder he's tired and ready to do less. Anyhow, back to buying a new trailer. So exciting, right? You'll have to know what you're going to sell because any reputable manufacturer will want to know your workflow so they can configure the equipment and the hood system placement. Again, here's the most important advice of all. Make sure you'll be selling something that you can book and something with a big profit margin. This isn't the local burger joint in your hometown where things are marked up maybe 3 times. At a fair, there are much bigger margins. Try pricing on a lemonade, 50 cents to make and serve, and $5 to the customer. A couple hundred a day, and at the end of the week, 4 or 5 grand after expenses. Not bad for squeezing lemons. Also make sure you be able to book your joint. I can almost promise that you will not be able to get on with the common fair foods. These will be foods that are restricted because the same people, the same families have been selling them for generations. Besides the ones I've mentioned already, some other foods will be impossible to book. These include hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken tenders, fries, onion rings, blooming onions, fried dough, elephant ears, funnel cakes, ice cream, cotton candy, candy apples, shaved ice, Italian sausage, pizza, steak and cheese, deep fried Oreos or Twinkies, baked potatoes, corn on the cob, turkey legs. Did I miss any? Hey, you get my drift. Also, you want something that people have heard of. Something unique may be great at your grandma's house, but it might be a really tough sell at the fair because nobody knows what it is. Hey, have you seen that TV reality show called Carnival Eats? Stuff they feature on that show is kind of stupid. The host, his name is Noah Cap, goes to different fairs around the U.S. and tries a variety of unique and often over-the-top food creations. They always look amazing and delicious, and when he asks people to try the food, the customers always rave. Well, here's a newsflash. Most of that is strictly done for the show, totally staged. There is no way that vendors have the time or the room to add 15 ingredients, let it marinate overnight, slow cook it, and so on. Those crazy creations are not practical. Keep that in mind when you're making your menu. Think speed, volume, and storage. Now, if you hit on the right product, you'll be absolutely swamped at a fair. And it's all about getting them in and getting them out. There is just not enough time to get gourmet food out the window quickly enough to make your crowds happy. When you see long lines that are hardly moving and people with angry looks on their faces, it's usually a food truck guy or food truck girl who's used to a slow pace by the side of the road, someone who has no idea how to put out food quickly because their menu is filled with gourmet choices that take up to 30 minutes to assemble. Okay, so now you have a great product in mind that you can get booked at multiple events. It's quick and easy to prepare, the profit margins are high, and people buy it in droves. All you need now is something to sell from. So let's talk about buying a trailer. I'm going to start on the outside. There's a lot more to it than color and size, but let's start there. My opinion, the best color is white because it's like a blank canvas. You can wrap it any way you want if you have thousands to spend on a wrap. Alternately, you can get decals and apply them yourself. The latter is so much less money and it's not very difficult. If you get the right decals, your trailer will look great. Now let's talk about size. When you think about size, you'll need to consider the equipment that you'll require. Some folks have a stock truck to make life easier. For instance, they might keep their ice machine in their stock truck. But if that's not an option, then you need to allow for every single thing you need to prep, store, and serve on your menu. I use graph paper. I draw the size of the trailer and then I place the equipment squares inside. I figure 1 square equals 1 foot. I cut out the graph paper equipment pieces to size. That tells me what will work and what will not work. Right now I'm planning on an 8x16 trailer. The tongue is 4 feet. Fares charged by the foot, and more are going to 10-foot increments. So 16 feet plus a 4-foot tongue puts me right at the 20-foot sweet spot. I'm also considering adding a tiny bathroom, nothing but a toilet since a hand washing sink will be right outside the door. I'll put a vinyl sliding curtain on it. No one will use it but me and my husband and maybe one other worker. If you've ever been to a busy fair, the lines at the public restrooms can be brutal. You won't have time to sneak away, and there's no time to run back to the camper either. I want to add one other thing about the size of your trailer that has to do with the length. Sometimes if your trailer is too long, they won't be able to accommodate you in some of the best locations. 20 feet is pretty standard, and that's including the tongue. If you have windows on one end, it may be possible to back the trailer in, and then you'll be paying on 10 feet instead of 20 because you're serving from the short end. It's always better to be more visible by parking the long way, but sometimes you may go sideways just so you can get a location. As for the actual structure, some trailers have totally square corners, others are a bit more rounded on the corners. Look at Google Images at concession trailers and decide what you like. Or walk around the fairgrounds while the fair's in session and take photos of what you like. Go home and study them, and this will help you make decisions on what you'd like the exterior to look like. Some of these things are really a personal choice. Also, do not get a V-nose trailer. I mean, a lot of them are cargo trailers that have been converted, and they look exactly like what they are. Get a real concession trailer, not a conversion. The V-nose will make you look inexperienced. A real vendor would not be caught dead in a V trailer. And many fair committees will not book you just because of that, because you'll have to send them photos when you apply. Moving on, you want to think about height. In my favorite of all times, my Wells Cargo, the floor dropped halfway through the trailer, so the workers were closer to the ground in the back end of the trailer. Otherwise, the customer's face is looking at the knees of the person taking the order. Awkward. You can have your counter helper sit on a cooler. That puts them face to face with the customer. You'll figure it out. But as for height, your choices are usually 7 foot, 7.5 foot, and 8 foot. My husband is over 6 feet, so we'd like a trailer that's on the taller side. Less claustrophobic as well. The outside of a trailer is called the skin. It may be smooth or it may be constructed with riveted vertical panels. The rivets are a real pain when you try to put a wrap or decals on the outside. Your wrap company may even charge you extra. Smooth is better in so many ways. Now let's talk about windows. The more windows, the better. In this business, the old saying is flash is cash. Your customers and would-be customers want to see what you're doing for multiple reasons. Are you clean? Did you touch the hot dog after handling the money without washing your hands or putting on gloves? Is the cook smoking over the grill? Ugh. Are the flies outnumbering the guests? Cleanliness is a big thing. Always assume someone is watching you. In fact, people do want to watch you. You are the entertainment while they stand in line and wait. Anything you do that will amuse or draw attention is something that will attract more customers. In our awesome blossom blooming onion trailer, people were absolutely fascinated to watch us cut, batter, and drop their onions into the fryer. It was live entertainment while they waited. Priceless. The same goes with pouring a funnel cake, tossing a pizza crust, or gathering floss on a cone. Windows are good, and if you can have them on all three sides, even better. In fact, windows are a reason I will walk away from a trailer manufacturer. Way too many so-called concession trailer builders put in tiny serving windows. This is so bad. It is an instant turn-off to customers. Builders do this because it's a much cheaper alternative to putting 5 or 6 foot serving windows on 3 sides. It's just one of the many ways that they get away with cheaper pricing. Believe me, if you want to look like a newbie on the fairgrounds, pull in with one of these so-called concession trailers. They're a joke. Sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings. I'm just saying, your window is your attraction, your billboard, your show, all in one. You have to invite the customers, not repel them. There are some things you just can't skimp on. I'd rather see you with rivets and decals instead of a wrap. Save money there, but don't build your trailer with a stupid looking tiny window. Trust me on this. Okay, so you get an awning with each window. The awning should absolutely not be tilted downwards. It should be completely flat when it is up, or may even slant upwards a tiny bit. On my old Wells cargo trailer, it was a split awning. A third of it folded upwards, so the awning was like this, and then a third folded upward and formed a place to put a sign. All 3 window awnings had this feature, and then there were pie wedges that fit between the 2 windows flip-ups. That was a great setup. I don't think they do that anymore, but it was great. Okay, moving on, here's a list of some other things to consider in no particular order. First, let's talk about the wheels. I prefer a dual axle trailer because it's so much easier to tow. Make sure you get buddy bearings, which help keep dirt and water out. I think you need to grease them periodically. My husband handles that. The tongue of the trailer should have a steel plate like a triangle, and it's usually black diamond plate so it's not slippery. The tongue can stay attached or it can be detachable. You can research that. I've never had a tongue that was detachable. A tongue is heavy and you'll have to store it under the trailer. Of course, there are retractable tongues. If you pay $150,000 and upwards for the trailer, and it's a retractable tongue, I'm sure is an option. So it slides under the trailer. I'd say it's probably $500 more. That's usually not in my budget. Also, you can look into an electric jack for the tongue, or you can have the hand crank kind. I'm not sure of the price of that option, but it will be handy for someone like me who may not have the strength to crank it up the whole way. When I'm alone, that can be a problem. Okay, when the trailer is being designed, you want to think about where the door will go. That will be part of the puzzle when you're doing the workflow graph on graph paper. I like a wide door, and I always get a screen door. Cool little breeze in the summer is so nice. We don't use AC in New England. Make sure your door has a lock. And your trailer will need a rack for your propane tanks. We use the smaller tanks, not the kind for the barbecue grill at your house. I think they're about 40 pounders and they stand about 4 feet tall. They're just easier to handle than the 100-pound ones. Be sure to lock them so no one can steal them. We once had 2 tanks, brand new tanks, stolen off our trailer after the last night of the last show of the season. Not a great way to end an otherwise terrific year. Also, you may need a cage for your tanks. Check the codes in your state. If you plan to use a generator, you'll need a rack, a lock, and a cage for that as well. We've never traveled with a generator, but if you plan to play certain types of events, you may need one. Now you'll need jacks on each corner to help level and stabilize your unit. Usually these are scissor jacks that you crank down because they're attached to the trailer. I think you can get electric ones too, but for me that's more gadgets to play with and more gadgets to break. Be sure to bring wheel chocks so you don't go rolling down a hill. Very important. You'll need electric brakes. We've had a brake apparatus that sits next to the regular brake pedal in our truck. Honestly, I don't know how this works, except I think it's like an extra system that will help slow you down if you're in a hilly terrain. You'll need stairs to get into the trailer as you're going to hop up onto the tongue. We always stuck a milk crate there as a step. We would then use the crate for extra hoses when we packed up to leave. That's if your door is on the tongue. Make sure the floor is made from pressure-treated plywood. Floors and roofs are the first things to go in a trailer as they age. Exterior lighting is so important. You want customers to know of your presence after dark. You'll need LED lights inside and out, lots of it. If you have a marquee, you want lighting on that as well. Our marquee is an option. It's the big sign that wraps around the top of the trailer. Usually the builder does not include that, although in the higher end trailers it may be an option. A big marquee is awesome, and if it's in your budget, go for it. An average marquee with signage on it is about 10 grand. Some of them fold down on the top of the trailer or fold down on the sides of the trailer for travel, but others stay upright. A big marquee is like a billboard for your business. Get one if you can. Well, that's where I'm going to stop on the exterior. This is going to be one video discussing both the interior and exterior, but this one is so long, I'm going to make another one for the interior. Please let me know how you like this and if it's helpful. Also, if you're in the middle of a build or just finished, I'd love to know about your experience and who your builder is. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss future tips on running a successful food on wheels business. And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure to follow our page for more content like this. The link to our quick start guide is in the description box below. Grab it to kickstart your journey today. Got questions? I'd love to hear from you. Just send me an email at susanjoyfoodonwheels@gmail.com. Bye for now. See you in the next video.